Hey, what's up guys, I'm Unbound Brian, and today guys, I'm bringing you another death battle of earthly proportions. Stick around. Alright, enough punny jokes. So, today's death battle is going to be Captain Planet versus Aang the Avatar from the last Airbender series. If you guys aren't familiar with these two characters, the Captain Planet is an 80s superhero, 80s, 90s superhero, and he is summoned by these 5 teenagers who have these rings that were given to them by a goddess, Gaia, who is like the spirit of the earth type of being, and she, you know, these rings are used, and these 5 elements are used to combine their powers together, and they create Captain Planet. Heart, fire, wind, water, and earth. Each one of these things are a aspect of the world, and these things are used to give Captain Planet his powers. So, and then, of course, we have the Aang, the Avatar. The Avatar takes place in a kind of like a post or pre-technology type of world. So it's kind of very like feudal Japan-esque type of vibe to it. It's got like, you know, the Airbenders, which is what Aang really is, to his core, who are monk-like people. And then you have like, you know, the Fire Nation, and they're very militaristic type of group of nation in that time of storytelling. And then you have, you know, the Earth, you know, but I think multiple Earth nations and multiple water tribes. Anyway, the point that I'm getting at is that Aang is the Avatar, and in the world where the Avatar exists, people have this ability called bending, and bending is like they bend the elements around them. You know, like I mentioned, Earth, Fire, Wind, and Water, or air in their case. But Aang is the Avatar; he can bend all 4. So, this is a perfect matchup, basically. These are 2 characters who are very elemental in their base. So I guess for starters, we're going to start with Captain Planet, and we're going to start listing out their power sets so you kind of know where these characters are coming from. So, first of all, for Captain Planet, we're going to have Super Strength, Flight, Energy Projection. He has the ability to do molecular changing, but basically what this means is Captain Planet has the ability to make his body into like lightning or metal or fire, you know, or water. He can shape-shift his molecular structure to be like that. He's even able to imitate plant life and create like vines and roots from his fingers and feet. He also has the ability to have telepathy. He can talk to you with his mind instead of, you know, with his words. And he also has the ability of empathy, which basically means, what the superpower empathy means is he can feel what you're feeling deliberately, emotionally speaking, without you needing to convey it. Now we have to go to Aang. Aang is the Avatar of this world. Like I mentioned, he bends the 4 core elements. So of course he mentions, you know, he can bend fire, water, and earth, but wind is his primary one, because Aang is actually naturally an airbender. Aang also has the ability to, being the Avatar, he has something called the Avatar state. What this will allow him to do is basically it allows him to enter, the way the Avatar works in his world is it's a reincarnation type ability. So basically when one Avatar dies, he's reincarnated into the next life. So Aang actually, by entering the Avatar state, can then gain the knowledge and experience of previous Avatars. And that's a very powerful technique. Then he also has a weird ability, and I'm imagining that this is something only the Avatar can do. According to the wiki, he has the ability to locate people. Like, he just can sense where people are and find them. And then lastly, he has this thing called energy bending, which is something also strictly to the Avatar state. This ability is what allows him to fight like spirits from in the Avatar universe. It's also used as the ability to take away other people's bending abilities. This is a very unique ability that only the Avatar truly possesses. I believe that Legend of Korra touches on somebody else being able to do that, but what they're doing is water bending and using a type of water bending inside the body to basically turn off somebody's bending, but that can be undone. Not even just by it can be undone by other water benders. So it's you know, it's not the same thing as what he does. Whereas the energy bending, as the way Aang uses it, it's a very permanent thing. It's like, oh well, you don't have your powers no more ever, gone. And I act like it's a snap, but it's not really a snap. It's very much a focused attack. It takes time to do. So yeah. All right, so we're gonna compare the 5 categories of these characters. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna cut to that.
Alright, so here are the 4 categories that we'll be comparing. Or 5 categories, I should say. We're going to compare strength, speed, durability, experience, and elemental control. So, let's go ahead and start with the strength category. So if we look over here, Aang isn't exactly a weak fighter at all. He's actually, I would argue, in his world, you know, they're probably stronger than normal people, and if we look by this boulder here, it's going to be roughly weighing about 500 pounds if we scale according to Aang's size. Now, if we come over here to Captain Planet, he's got a little bit of difference. Frankly here, let me show you. If we come over here, if you look here, he's punching a mech. So over here, he's punching or basically using a baseball bat style thing, and he's basically rocketing a alien spaceship back to outer space. Both of these machines are roughly in the tons, so I'm gonna have to give the strength category to Captain Planet. You know, when we're comparing, you know, someone in the tons versus someone in the, you know, in the pounds, usually, yeah, the tons person definitely has the advantage there. All right, so now let's go over to speed. If we come over here to the speed feats, if we look here at Captain Planet, we're going to have another video for you guys. He basically takes this rocket and flies from Earth all the way to outer space, way into the outer space, in a matter of seconds. In order to pull off a feat like this, he would have to be moving at Mach 600. Yeah, that's pretty freaking fast. Now, unfortunately for Aang here, we don't really have much of a speed feat to calculate. Now, a lot of people have said, well, why don't we use his experience with lightning bending, but here's the thing. This isn't speed that he's using to block lightning. This is basically his extension of fire bending, which is a type of pyrokinesis, so to speak. So this isn't a speed feat. So we really don't have any superhuman speed feats for Aang. Or Aang, excuse me. So I'm gonna have to give the speed category is gonna have to go also to Captain Planet, because that's just ridiculous. Now, if we come over here to durability for the next category, Aang is pretty durable for a human in his world. He's also able to create things like using earthbending to create armor, which is, you know, that's no easy feat. On top of that, though, unfortunately, you still have to deal with all the durability of Captain Planet, who, if you look here, this machine is basically a giant drilling machine, and it didn't even affect him. And if we look at this video, this is him taking some kind of like small warehouse thing, and with a bomb in it, and it explodes him in air, and he, you know, like nothing happened. An explosion like that would kill a normal human being. So I'm gonna have to give durability again, and I mean, and there's some more feats too. I mean, like for example, Captain Planet has fallen from space back onto planet Earth and got up like nothing happened. He survived multiple explosions, some of them even on the nuclear level. So I'm gonna have to give durability also to Captain Planet. Now we're gonna come over here to experience. Now this is a little different. We can't mention this without mentioning the Avatar state. Aang is able to enter into the Avatar state, and it allows him to have access to all of the different lives he's lived beforehand. This allows him to have all their experience, all their knowledge. He has it all available to him in one fell swoop. Then we also have Captain Planet, who is a servant or a warrior for the goddess Gaia. So, which is a Grecian goddess. So the idea here is that, you know, if I have to gamble here, Captain Planet may be like roughly 2,000 years old, but if we were to calculate every one of these different avatars, I would argue that Aang has and also it's not really specified if Captain Planet has been in combat for, you know, how long he's been in combat. So I'm going to have to give the one with the actual trackable feat here of experience to Aang. Frankly, he's got all of the experience here. I mean, multiple lifetimes of experience. Now we're going to come over here to elemental control. Now I'm not going to bother showing you, you know, a bunch of fancy stuff here. One of the things that when it comes to elemental control is Aang definitely is the master in those 4 elements: fire, wind, water, and earth. Captain Planet, though, he is very much more of a brawler type hero, and even though he has elemental based powers, he really rarely uses them. Most of the time he uses his abilities, to be frank, you know, like you saw in the earlier clip with him using his super strength, that's what he usually uses. He uses his speed and his strength and his flight more so than his elemental based powers, but he does have the ability to make himself, you know, a rock person, a fire person, you know, a water person, etc., and a metal person. You know, he even has a few abilities, like he can project lightning. He even has some kind of energy projection. We don't really even know what it is. I argue it's probably some type of solar based beam condensed into, like, an energy blast. So, I mean, it's caused explosions. That's all I know. But I do know that Aang definitely has him beat in those 4 categories, as in their purest states. Aang also does have the ability to turn water into ice, so that's a bonus there, which I imagine that Captain Planet could do something similar. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. So I'm going to give the elemental control to Aang. However, here's the thing. When we're determining the winner here, I'm going to have to give it to Captain Planet, because the truth is, out of those 4 core elements, Captain Planet is physically immune to most of them. Actually, he's immune to all 4 of them. When it comes to air, I mean, he can make tornadoes too, and he doesn't need to breathe. When it comes to earth, his durability is so strong, it doesn't matter what Aang throws at him, it's not going to penetrate his skin. And when it comes to fire and water, he's immune to those abilities, period. They don't affect Captain Planet at all. In fact, the only thing they'll do is keep him healthy and strong. So, when it comes to these elemental forces, and Aang is an experienced combatant, but yeah, I'm not giving this fight to Aang. He just doesn't have the physical might it would take, or the elemental control that it would take to destroy Captain Planet.
Alright guys, so as you guys saw in that segment, that where we compared the 5 characters, Aang just doesn't have the chops to take this fight. You guys are probably thinking, like, wait a damn minute. What do you mean Aang doesn't have the chops? He has the avatar state and all that. And you're right. When it comes to experience, yes. And when it comes to the 4 elements, those 4 core elements, Aang is definitely going to be more powerful with them than Captain Planet when it comes to, you know, manipulating fire, wind, water, and earth. However, Aang can't use the subcategories of those elements. He can only use those 4 elements. He can do, like, he can make water into ice. He can do, you know, different kinds of... he can even redirect lightning, but Aang can't create lightning. He can only redirect it. So you know what I mean? And he also can't do things like blood bending. He can't do things like, not that that would be particularly useful in this case, because we don't even know if Captain Planet bleeds. He also can't do metal bending. So there are elements, subcategories of those 4 core elements that Captain Planet can use to overpower Aang in the terms of just an elemental battle. But when you just compare his strength and his speed, he just doesn't need to. In a battle to the death where Captain Planet has an intent to kill, if he was to use his full force strength and speed, he could kill Aang before he had time to even make any type of shield. So, you know, in essence, you know, and then of course there's the argument, well, what about the energy bending? You said that he could take away other people's powers. Here's the thing about that. We only know for sure that Aang can take away the bending abilities of other benders. But here's the thing. Captain Planet is not a earthbender or a firebender or anything like that. He's not even an avatar, so to speak. He's a completely different kind of being. I mean, Captain Planet would be more closely knit to like a fusion of a physical being and a spiritual being, so we don't really know what he is. And the truth is, even if Aang could take away his powers, the problem with that ability is, that energy bending ability is, it's too slow. And as we have already discussed, Captain Planet can move at Mach 600, so there's just no way for Aang to win this fight.
This fight goes to Captain Planet.
Hey guys, if you liked this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and let me know that you enjoyed it. If there's something that you think that I missed, you're always welcome to leave that stuff in the comments below. It may apply for future death battles. If there's a way that you think I can make this video better, this type of video, death battle video better, please leave that in the comments below as well as your suggestions for future death battles. I also do polls on my Twitter page, so make sure that you follow me on Twitter so you can so you guys can help pick the next couple death battles or the next couple videos that I do. I also post stuff for my other channel over there, so both of my channels can go check that out for information if you happen to be following me on both. If you're new here, consider subscribing to Unbound Brian. It would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, I hope to see you guys next time. Peace!